In the last part, we saw that Chu Xiao rushed towards Yu Wen Yu. At that time, Chu Xiao suddenly felt so scared. It was different from the fear of death, fear of abandonment. She had been so strong all her life, with incredible mental fortitude, and there were only twice in her life that she had felt so scared. The first time was when he had sunk into the freezing lake, and now it was her second time. Disregarding the surroundings, she stretched out her hands and pulled on his clothes with all her strength. Regardless of how crowded it was, she refused to let go. On the back of her hand, suddenly she felt warmth. A hand had gently clasped hers in return. In the bright lights, she approached him. With his two arms, he created a space just for the two of them, with the shadows of people passing by and the ripples of the water waves drifting in the background. She seemed so close to him that she could smell his breath. With tears starting to form in her eyes, she tried her best to remain calm, yet she could not help but stretch out her hand to touch his finger. She touched his eyebrow, slender and curving upwards arrogantly, yet he had never been overly complaints. She touched his eyes, calm and emotionless, yet he had never been left her alone in the time of need. She touched his lips. He was rarely talkative, yet he had lost the touch of a lone wolf. The answer she had been looking for was standing before her now, yet she suddenly felt as though her knees grew weak. With a suppressed sob coming out from her throat, she weakened and fell to one side. With the utmost reaction speed, he quickly grabbed her by her waist. The moment their fingers touched, it seemed as though the stopped clock had finally started moving. Her suppressed crying was finally let loose. As her emotion overflowed, embracing her, her tears fell freely on his chest, wetting his clothes, seeping into his heart. Why did you lie to me? Why didn't you come to see me? I thought that you had died. Weeping, even her body was trembling as she repeated again and again, I thought that you had died. Take a step back to see the truth. Biting his lips, Yu Wen Yu did not speak. After coming so far, he had actually not intended to look for her and merely wished to be closer to her without actually disturbing her. The ancient city of Xianyang was the city within the Xia Empire that was the closest to the Liang Empire. After opening his mouth several times, he did not know what to say to her, as he was lost for words. After calming her roaring tides of emotions in his heart, he spoke in his usual calm tone, as though he was impatient. Stop crying. I had not died yet. Why didn't you come to find me if you are not dead? pushing aside him. Chu Xiao's eyes were red as she continued to weep. Do you not know how to even send a letter? Before him, she had never cried so hard that she was already struggling to stand upright. He stretched his hand out as he ordered, "Come here." Weeping away her tears, this was the first time in her life she did not want to oppose him, as she jumped into his embrace, crying while scolding him, "You are such a madman." This night she slept ever so soundly, as though she had been soaked in a comfortable warm bath. The sky was so blue, and they were so young. Their youth seemed to be like the fish that had just been caught from the sea, so full of life. As her tiredness finally started to fade, her face felt chilly as she opened her eyes, only to see that he was standing before her with a long face as he frowned. "Do you know what time is it now?" At that moment, she had the illusion that she was myopic, as her head seemed to be no longer functioning. She stared at him while borrowing her brows together ever so slightly, looking ever so serious. Her serious face made Yu swallow his words as he was about to turn and leave. He felt as though his clothes had been dragged by something. Looking down, he saw a small porcelain-like hand tugged at his clothes with so much strength that it seemed as though one could see the veins. The memories of last night resurfaced as her face turned red, as she let loose her hand and looked outside the window, only to be stunned. Why is the sky dark?
From up here, the world seems small.
After they had parted the day before, he returned to his lodging. As this trip was secret, he had not stayed in official lodgings. All day Yu waited to see her, and his patience finally ran out as he headed to her lodging alone. After entering unannounced, he was greeted by a scene of her sleeping ever so soundly. How could he, having struggled to sleep for the past one day and one night?
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back.
Thanks for staying right beside me. Feel free to share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you.